Hey everybody, it's Joe DeGanzik. This is Life in the Smarter Home. It's another one of our Q&A episodes, this time lighting, and the next episode that you'll see in the timeline on YouTube or whatever it's called, the uploads will be our home automation. So every single month that you guys write in to questions@smarterhomelife.com and I answer your questions usually right away within a couple days, and then we take the best ones, the most interesting that would be to the audience, and usually that's about 3 each, and answer them here on these kind of extended length Q&A episodes. So you can comment, you can send a YouTube message, you can send an email, but the best way to get me is if you actually send an email. It's a lot easier for me to decipher them because the YouTube comment system is kind of a mess for people who are creators of content. Anyways, questions@smarterhomelife.com is the best way to get a hold of me for any of your questions. And so let's dive right into it. This is, like I said, the LED and lighting, otherwise lighting category or episode. So we'll dive right in. From a YouTube message from Justin sent near the end of May. We take the questions from the previous month and put them to the next month. Let's see. Hi, Joe. I know you don't speak a lot about CFL bulbs. He is talking about these guys, right? But I was just wondering, is it true that CFLs give off high levels of UV light? I read somewhere on the web that CFLs can be dangerous because of UV light, and also can be dangerous if you break one, as in take this and smash it to bits. If you break one due to mercury content. I've been converting some of the lights in our home to LED bulbs, but I still have a bunch of working CFLs that I might need as backups. Do LED bulbs give off any UV light? Just curious. Thank you for your time, Justin. Thank you, Justin, for your question. We've kind of been through this before a little bit earlier in the series when we were talking about CFL versus LED and the government mandates to make bulbs more energy efficient and kind of phasing out the old incandescents. Well, so first off, yes, they do give off a certain amount of UV light. Is it harmful? It's harmful if you're looking at it like this, like 3 inches away from your eyes, but that's kind of like you probably shouldn't be looking at light sources that are that close to your eyes. But at this distance, at a foot or more away, you're in the safe zone. They filter out UV light. UV is part of the magic that actually makes the bulb actually glow. It's all the phosphors and so forth inside the glass, the coating that makes them glow. But UV is kind of part of that equation. So it does give off a little bit of UV light, but not a ton, nothing that would actually be dangerous to you. So that's question one. And the second question is about mercury. Now, mercury is contained in the bulb. It's part of the actual system, part of the actual sort of ignition system, if you will, to get the energy to be converted from direct energy coming into the bulb via your power to actual something that can be seen in terms of the light. The mercury helps with the phosphors, helps to excite the electrons and to get the bulb to glow. I'm generalizing this, but you can look up the Wikipedia article on exactly how these things work. So there is mercury content. It's not like if you break this, there's going to be mercury like dripping out of the bulb. It is more of a coating. In fact, it's a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of mercury that's actually contained within these bulbs. So the environmental effect of you breaking one of these onto the ground outside and leaving it there is not huge. It's more of a problem if a ton of these are disposed of improperly or not recycled, and you have a potential for mercury to get into the environment. But again, it's a tiny amount of mercury. It's not going to really affect you unless you pick the bulb fragments up with your bare hands, which you will probably cut yourself because it's glass, so I don't really recommend that either. So the answer is yes, it contains mercury. Yes, it can be harmful to the environment, but is it going to cause you a problem realistically from one bulb? No. But if you do break one, please recycle it correctly. Or if you're going to switch to LEDs, please recycle it. You can recycle these at Home Depot, at Lowe's, potentially other hardware stores. You can look up places online. Sometimes cities and electronics recyclers in your area will take these as well. these have been out for enough time where there is an actual stream. There's a process for getting these back to manufacturers or to companies that can strip them down and recycle them and keep them out of landfills, which is what we want to do. So the final question was, what about LEDs? So bulbs like this guy, here's the good old Cree 4-flow that we've talked at length about. Do LEDs give off UV light? Potentially a tiny little bit less UV light than their CFL neighbors, cousins, whatever word you want to throw in there. They give off a little bit of UV, but not a lot, or perhaps zero. Just depends on the LED bulb, the manufacturer, the color temperature of it. Many factors go into it, but in general, they give off none or extremely, extremely small amounts of UV light. This is why LEDs now are preferred by museums, art museums, anyone who's displaying anything that can be affected by UV light. Museums generally went from incandescent and halogen right over to LED and skipped CFL because CFL does emit some UV and it can cause some aging and some problems with very sensitive artwork, very old artwork, sculptures, statues, what have you. Anything that needs to be preserved. So you see now that museums are actually converting over, if not have already completely converted over, to LED light in terms of these type of bulbs or flood lamps, spotlights, and whatnot. So they're fairly easy to spot. So in general, yes, there might be a tiny amount of UV light, but in general they don't put out that much UV. And also that's one reason, there's a multitude of reasons for this, but that's one particular reason why LED bulbs do not attract as many bugs as a traditional incandescent bulb, which does also emit some UV, not a lot, but a little bit. Bugs see, different types of bugs see light in different wavelengths, so LEDs don't always, depending on the LED lamp, of course, and the LEDs themselves, sometimes they don't give off the wavelengths of light that bugs would actually see, and therefore they wouldn't be attracted to it. So that's the long answer for your question, and I believe that was from Justin. So thank you for your question, and continue watching, and thanks for watching the videos, and send in more questions if you've got them. Thank you so much, Justin. And if that didn't answer your question, let me know, and we'll get another answer to you. So here's a comment from Alex S. Can I turn on the lights without a cell phone? He's referring to Philips Hue. And I'm pretty sure we didn't answer this question before. Anyways, thanks, great video. Well, thank you for your comments and your positive evaluation of the video. He was talking about the Philips Hue. I believe this was the Light Strip Plus video from a number of months ago. So the short answer is yes, and there's sort of a caveat with that. So we're talking about the Philips Hue, as I've got a little crack in there. I don't know how that happened. That's not good. But anyways, this is kind of like plastic, so no matter. The Philips Hue bulbs, this is the standard bulb that they came out with several years ago. Obviously, they have a multitude of products at this point. We've gone through a few of them and shown them on the show, so I'm not going to duplicate that. Now there are ways to control these guys without the smartphone app, without the Philips Hue bridge. You can literally start with a kit for, I believe it's about $40 for one of the Philips Hue white only bulbs. That means you can just dim and brighten it, and it's a smart bulb. And it comes with this little, I don't have it here, a little wireless dimmer switch. And you can control up to 10 bulbs with the dimmer switch. The dimmer switch itself is $25. And it means that you can control these guys without a smartphone, without an app, and without the Philips Hue bridge. But you can really only do limited functionality on off. You can't exactly group them together and do fancy advanced functions without the app, without the bridge. And then with the bridge, you can control up to 50 Philips Hue lighting devices. There is, of course, the Philips Hue tap, which you can set that up, but you do need the tap does require the app for setup, and also the Philips Hue bridge. But you can, in theory, set all of, if you actually wanted the entire, let's just call it the entire enchilada, or that would be the whole enchilada. You could get one of the Philips Hue starter kits, the bridge, load up the smartphone app and get the wireless dimmer. You can get the Philips Hue tap device, which is the really cool one that doesn't require batteries, and it's like round. It works on kinetic energy. Why am I holding this up? I don't know. Anyhow, you can get all of that, set it all up, set up your favorite scenes within the tap or within the switch, or the dimmer, set it up, link it up to the various lights that you want, set everything, place all of the switches and tap devices in your home and the lights, and potentially never touch the app ever again. You could set up schedules through the app once and be done with it. You could set up geofencing, so when you come home and leave, certain things happen, lights turn on, lights turn off automatically, things like that. You could set all of it up one time and be done with it, never touch the app again. Or again, you can get the dimmer kit that doesn't have the bridge. Obviously, you wouldn't need the app, and you can start from there. So they've gone from being an app-only, kind of smart bridge-only system to where you could actually go to the store and get a couple of these bulbs and the dimmer, the wireless dimmer switch, and control 10 bulbs. And if you're happy with that, then good to go. And then you've got something that's expandable later and can connect with a bunch of different, Philips Hue is one of the most connectable, or I guess connected home automation systems. Really, it only does lighting, but we'll get to that. We've talked to you about other things that it connects to, and I'm going to talk about that in the, is it the next question or the next episode, either the home automation, let's just see. Yeah, it'll be the next in the home automation Q&A. So I hope that answers your question, Alex. Thanks for writing in, and if not, shoot me a message and I'll get some more information back to you. So there we go. So the last question in the lighting episode, I'm looking, this is from an email from Charles Willett. Thank you for your email. I'm looking for a good quality LED floodlight. So this is for outside. They don't need to be motion controlled or daylight savings or any of that stuff. They will be controlled by an Insteon dimmer. We love Insteon here in the show, so kudos to you for using Insteon dimmers. But they do need to operate in cold weather. And I don't care if it's just a bulb or a complete replacement or of an outside fixture. I want tons of light. Any ideas? Now, one of the things, and most people are not buying CFL at this point, one of the challenges that CFL has had, fluorescent in general has always had, these guys and your general fluorescent tubes, has always been that in super cold weather, they appear to be a little dim. They're not as bright as they could be. So, and again, most people are phasing these guys out, so I just want to sort of mention that to you. I'm going to recommend an LED lamp to you. So here's the thing: people are looking for really bright when you're looking for outdoor applications, and it depends on, is it for security, is it for lighting up a deck or a patio or a whole backyard, whatever you might be using these for. Whether they're on your house or kind of ringing, the outer perimeter of your yard potentially, you want a tremendous amount of light. Now, the smallest I would go with, and we've talked about this a little bit on some of the episodes, in terms of, this is a BR30. 30 defines the actual width of it. There's a whole math equation for it, but I won't bother you with that. But this is a BR30. Generally, these are 60 to 70 watt equivalent in terms of from what you would get as an incandescent, but this is an LED. This is the Jackpot, I believe, from G7 Power. We've talked about G7 Power. They're an American company, and they make LED lamps, good ones. We've talked about it. We've reviewed at least one of their bulbs on the show. So you can get this at g7power.com. We'll put a link in the show notes. This is about 810 to 850 lumens of light, warm white, and they have other colors available of light, cool white or that daylight white, if you're looking for that. Now, in comparison, this is a BR. Let's do that. That looks better. This is a BR40. Now, this is an older, a lot of these BR40s still have these fins because they have to dissipate a lot of heat off of the LEDs that are inside, or the potential of one gigantic LED that's inside here that's shining through the diffuser. These guys are going to go up to, say, 120 equivalent watts of light. That could potentially be between 1,000 and 1,200 lumens of light output. This could be, if you really want to put a tremendous amount of light in your backyard, I would go with something like this. Now, there are less BR40s out there. I believe that G7, this is made by Kobe Electric, but and I use these for some different purposes in the studio for other projects. But anyhow, the BR30, less amount of light. It's good, but not as much as you could get with a BR40. The BR40s, there's fewer manufacturers that make them. If you don't need anything that's dimmable, just on-off, your options will increase. And they offer them in different color temperatures. TCP makes them. Obviously, Kobe Electric makes them. I believe G7 makes them as well. Look for the information in the show notes, and I believe I already replied to you directly with some links, and we'll put it in the description of the show. So that's generally the concept outdoors. Most of these bulbs also are rated for outdoor use, but they should not be in an area where rain is directly going to run down the bulb, because potentially, they're not they look to be completely sealed. You don't want to drop this in like a sink and test it, but in general, they should be in an area where rain and moisture is not going to directly be running over the bulb, but they're okay if it's in a damp environment, a cold environment, or a hot environment. Heat does tend to kill LEDs in general, but you probably don't live here in the desert where it gets to be ridiculous temperatures during the summer. So I hope that gives you some insight, and I hope for anyone else who's looking for advice on LED flood lamps to use in outdoor applications or anywhere that you need a tremendous amount of light, there's that. We are going to continue the specialty lamp series that we started a few months ago in the coming months, and continue on talking about BR30s and 40s and 20s and floods and spots and all that good stuff. So watch for those episodes coming out as the summer progresses, and I am exerting even more time into the show, and it becomes more of my almost 100% focus. So speaking of that, this is the end of the LED lighting and sort of lighting Q&A episode. I want to give out some shout outs real quick to Michael D, Patrick B, Patrick M, and Richard B, who are a couple of our Patreon supporters. We have a Patreon community of supporters who contribute directly to the show in terms of financially. I hate to be out there being like, can you send us some money? And YouTube, we will always put these out there on YouTube, these episodes, for free. They'll be ad supported. One day, if we have enough of a gigantic Patreon community, then we can simply eliminate the ads altogether and go completely independent. But the Patreon contributions, the ads, the Amazon, we have affiliate programs, all of it helps us, helps me to produce quality episodes and to potentially get new products to review on the show that manufacturers don't send us for free to take a look at. So and whenever we do have, we try to be transparent. So if manufacturers do send us stuff, we tell you that it was supported by them. But otherwise, I basically have to buy these things for the show. And as you know, home automation and lighting stuff can be pricey. So every little bit helps. So if you would like to contribute directly to the show, if you get something out of these episodes, which I hope you do, with all these contributions in terms of questions and comments on the various episodes, which help to drive the Q&A episodes. That is awesome, and I wouldn't be continuing to do this if we didn't have an audience who was watching and getting something out of it. So if you get something out of it, please contribute if you'd like, and we've got some perks for you. We give a bunch of different things away depending on the amount of your contribution, and I will basically just stop bothering with that right now. So we're at the end of the episode. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel at Smarter Home Life on YouTube, just Google it, where I have to use our old URL for lighting answers because we don't want to break about a zillion different links, and I don't think YouTube will allow us to change it at this point. But if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please like, share, and tell your friends, tell your family, tell your wife or husband or brother or dog about the show, and help spread the word. We are continuing to grow, and it's only with your support that we can continue to do that, as we have for the past over 2 years. So the next episode will be our Q&A for home automation, and then this coming Monday, of course, is Apple's big WWDC announcement. We'll cover anything related to the smarter home and home automation and all that stuff surrounding those topics on Monday afternoon or Monday night, and all kinds of fun stuff coming up this summer. So that's it. I'm Joe DeKanzik, and I'll see you next time.